that, in the last few series we've casted of Paris, I've been very impressed with Benbest in the Reinhardt role. Especially, we've talked about their troubles in the Zarya position. They kind of go hand in hand, and he's actually performed quite well. It looks like Sato, though, will be kicking things off here as Reinhardt. So you will have a straight-up no 3-3 composition on both sides. Triple tank, triple support, with Reinhardt as the main tank.
And there's been considerable criticism levied at the Fusion for their Reinhardt or their 3-3 play. It's not been the greatest, but again, they find themselves in a position to secure that playoff spot. Let's see how it works out. Sato again, he gets corralled off for the rest of the Fusion just to start the fight, and EQO won't last much longer either. Paris, very good at running as a unit here. And with Benbest and Nico opening the account, the Fusion already have to back out.
And where I think Philly can win games against a lot of other teams just with their individual skill and just insane mechanical ability. I think though if Sato pushes a little bit too far on the Reinhardt does not have great mobility like Winston does. Cruz with those boots to displace him, going to be a real difference maker.
Benbest has to be careful. That repair pack from Nico is off on cooldown for another couple seconds. And that's the only burst healing, remember, that the Eternal have available to them. Now, Nico would love one from himself right now. He can't really do too much while he's low. He's going to pop the rally, but it takes a lot of damage anyway. He's going to try and push forward, but Benbest, you can see, he is under siege. It's going to force the Transcendence now from the Eternal. Earthshatter from Sato just to try and quiet things down, and it works out beautifully. Benbest is knocked prone, and EQO follows up. EQO now goes for the rally. He was looking a little bit low himself, so he's going to top himself and the rest of the team up, and it will be a clean up here. Take note, the Eternals still control the point, and they've got 40% of capture progress on this map. Again, 40, good start.
And they still have some players here, and it's going to be Carpe using the Graviton Surge here. You just connect with Soon.
Are you annoyed you're forced to use a grab here?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big win for Paris. I mean, Paris gets an extra 10% there towards the point, and they're able to force the Graviton Surge out of Carpe. That's pretty massive, but that fight kicks off and goes in Philadelphia's favor when Paris, hip gets quite low, and you want to keep that Zenyatta alive who's so close to Transcendence. They use the rally, and they start to back up, and they still have to heal him, and I think Philly realizes that they get aggressive and they push in on Sato. Hits a huge Earth Shatter. They're able to take advantage.
Poco keeping tabs on the Eternal from an off angle. Now he joins his team once Paris tried to chase him. The Graviton's available for Soon. He lets it go pretty much straight away. No pop or circumstances about it. He just came back. Self-destruct in from Finzi. Doesn't find anything either. Both teams still at 6 players strong. That's a big shadow though from Sato. Hip quickly's going to come in, and they lay a support ultimate. Hip uses Transcendence, and Cruz also the sound barrier. This could be disastrous now for the Eternal as the Fusion snap back. And Paris have no support ultimates left, but it's a trade. Carpe's down to Hip. Benbest has fallen though, and without their Reinhardt, things are going to get a little bit dicey now for the Eternal. The Fusion start to kick it up a gear, and they chase the Eternal out. Now we're going to be even on capture percentage, and Philly will get their nose ahead.
And that fight could have been so different there for Paris. We're on with Soon when he uses the Graviton Surge. You see they have no ultimates left across the board. And he uses the grab. He's at 0 charge. He has no energy there on Zarya to be able to put down any damage. He could have waited an extra second, just get another bubble on a Benbest. Maybe got a little charge to get a kill.
He actually gets caught by a shield back from EQO, which is kind of hard to do right now with Brigitte. You have to get around the Reinhardt, but it's a trade. Sato goes down as well. Carpe wants to hold a grab, for which time the Eternal are grouped up enough to use it, but he may just have to go for it to try and secure an elimination. He is charged up at least.
If he can live during this fight, you still have your Lucio alive, right? So you can speed boost him out of here. Keep this energy. So we'll see. They'll have Grab, Shatter, Rally coming in the next fight. Boombox probably gets Transcendence here.
The Eternal weren't in a position to chase down the dregs of that Fusion squad. And now the Philadelphia squad will get aggressive. Not only rally used by EQO here. Oh, Benbest is caught off for the rest of his team. It was a panic Graviton from Sue to try and protect Benbest, but it wasn't enough. Self-destruct doesn't do much either for the Eternal. And now with the Transcendence in play, the Fusion are very durable. And they want to continue to brawl out on the low level with Soon. He got taken low, and Nico just gets charged against the wall. The Eternal are in trouble now. They have 5% to get back to the point, and they have to run there. Cruz went for the sound barrier. Actually gets Sato to start with, and Finzi was already waiting on the point. There's a chance here for Paris to regroup now. Poco needs to go up to the sky. Neptuno gets caught. Carpe and EQO need to back up.
Benbest getting close to Shatter. He falls here. You have Boombox fall here for the Philadelphia Fusion. As you still have players here for Philly. Poco does have the self-destruct sitting on the high ground here in the Diva mech.
Fusion taking their time here. They need to be careful. Soon goes for a grab and dies instantly. Poco can't eat it, but he still gets the kill. Hip down. Paris now with no one really on the board. And the Fusion, with great composure, allow the Eternal to start capturing the point. and then move back on to reclaim it.
I mean, look, it's still not clean from Philly. They're triple tank, triple support with Reinhardt, with Sato playing that hero. Kind of reminds you of London, right? We talk about how they look so much more comfortable with Gesture playing Winston as opposed to Reinhardt. But Sato does get the better of Benbest. They're in their first point. I know only 3 deaths for Sato compared to 6 for Benbest, so Sato doing a nice job just staying alive. The rest of the team doing a nice job supporting him.
Eco making good use of Neptuno's speed boost to get around the Reinhardt shield of Benbest to actually secure those stuns. It's very impactful. That shield being down for that 1 second, also Ryan being so vulnerable.
And sometimes you do see some more damage dealer heavy compositions on this point, but I think if you're Paris, you don't want to bring out the damage dealers because I don't think you have the players to go toe-to-toe with Carpe and EQO in the damage.
Maybe not in the current roster. They got a huge... They got a lot of DPS players or damage dealers from the past, from yesteryear.
Very versatile ones as well.
That's right. Fight starts up with Soon and Benbest going down. You saw how deep Sato went into the enemy territory to find kills. That's called trusting your teammates to keep you alive. Cruz now has to do the same for his compatriots. Finzi is not so lucky.
Clean first fight there for Philly. Even Poco pushes up. He's able to get 2 eliminations. Already about 75% towards self-destruct. He's going to get that way faster than Finzi here. And you see how Carpe is building up that grab, almost double as fast as Soon. That's when you get those early fights to go in your favor, not taking too much damage. It's huge.
Soon's going to be barely tickling until he charges up a little bit more. Nice shield bash there. EQO gets caught out. It was actually Sato that got bashed. But Nico goes down. Both Brigitters are traded out here. The Eternal find an advantage in this fight, and Benbest searches ahead. This is going to force the Philadelphia Fusion just to pull out of the fight a little bit earlier. Oh, Boombox! That long-range work from Hip to secure the kill on his opposite number. Philly get about 35%. Be a slight stall here from Poco, who is desuited, but that'll be that.
And that's a huge fight win for Paris, Mitch. If they don't win that, they're behind in Ultimate Economy even further. And then we're looking at, 50+% here for Philadelphia. And they're in, 2-fight territory with how many support ults and whatnot are in the game. Philly will come back into the next fight. All 6 ultimates pretty much. Neptuno will get Sound Barrier, Sato will get Shatter. It's just what do they end up using trying to take the point back? It'll open things up with Rally here. See if Carpe can land a big grab. He's all charged up.
Waiting for the Eternal to be grouped up as much as possible and also avoiding Finzi's ability to negate the Graviton Surge. Soon pops his one first. Carpe seems to be waiting on his grab. No, he lets it go later on. Both teams in for the Transcendence, but Carpe and Neptuno down early. The self-destruct. There was nothing to back it up for Poco. And so the Diva Ultimate is cast into the void. And the Fusions still come out of that fight with nothing.
Yeah, what the Fusion try and do is when they're stuck inside of Soon's Graviton Surge, that's when you have Finzi launch his self-destruct up in the sky. Carpe grabs because there's no chance that the Diva use Defense Matrix, eats it up. They're just not able to combo as effectively as Paris. And now, as I mentioned, where Philly could have had the advantage, Paris now has the advantage. 50+%. They have 2 support ults still here to work with.
Here comes the push. There's that rally we're just talking about. Sato trying to go for an Earth Shatter there. He does manage to knock down Soon by the looks of things, and that's necessitated the sound barrier from the Eternal. But EQO, he was so deep in enemy territory, there was no way he could have been taken out. Sato goes for the charge, even though he was bubbled. It does secure a trading kills, but the Fusion is still down a player.
And it's so hard when you lose your Brigitte at the beginning of a fight because she's the only support you have in the lineup of supports in this composition with Zenyatta and Lucio that has any type of burst healing. So you're not able to heal some of these tanks up rather quickly. You just kind of die over time with all the poke damage that comes in. This could be the last fight on this point.
Carpe needs a huge grab, but Soon will potentially charge his up as well if he's at any kind of high energy. Carpe's going to push forward now and try and go for it early on. Transcendence being popped by Boombox
Big
here.
Shatter by Benbest.
And there it is, Graviton Surge from the Eternal. That Transcendence is going to time up, but it's not going to make a difference. Soon with 2. Self-destruct in over the top here, but the Eternal looking pretty comfortable. They get to the high ground. And it will maintain control at this point. Poco doesn't even get there. He's desuited. And so Busan will go all the way to 3 rounds.
Benbest hit a few nice counter shatters there. So when they would try and push in, maybe use a rally to engage, he would land 2 or 3 players with that Earth Shatter, which almost forces Philadelphia to think about using another support ultimate to make sure those players that are knocked down to the ground stay alive. So, the Reinhardt play between these 2 teams is going to be huge today. So we talk about the Zaryas a lot of the time and, the supports being able to keep the Reinhardts alive. But I feel like Reinhardt really, dictates, the pace of play and how aggressive you can be, just the decision-making of your Reinhardt. So, Finzi on Torb right now. Don't think we'll see that, no?
As much as I I mean, it's kind of close. It's an Icelandic player playing the Swedish character.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Torb is close to Diva. That is
No.
actually completely
Not
inaccurate.
quite. I mean, perspective makes a big difference, Matt, but I don't know if I can make that mental leap there. Sato is down to half already, and the shield is looking pretty cracked up, so the Fusion are going to have to take a sidebar for the moment, but Boombox, again, he's just trying to hide behind Poco's defense matrix. Paris, they smell blood in the water. They realize they have a chance to come forward here. Carpe is looking worse for wear. He needs to wait. He wants to be aggressive right now on this Zarya if he's got any sort of charge, but he wasn't able to. He needed burst healing. It wasn't there, so he had to wait it out. Boombox is down, though, already, and the Fusion gets split.
Yeah, I think Philly, they weren't exactly on the same page there. It looked like 4 players dropped down to the point, and then Sato and Boombox were like off to the side, like maybe trying to rotate around.
Boombox appeared to be on the high ground.
Yeah, on a flank, but they were all up on the high ground, and they dropped from the high ground, but it seemed like Sato and Boombox decided not to.
Yeah, if you're going to drop off the high ground, that's fine, but you have to do it all at the same time.
You can play a little crazy in this meta as long as you do it together. As long as you just move together. It'll be rally here.
Repair
Or
pack?
Paris, yeah, I mean, this is a fight where you know Paris is going to win. They have them in the close choke. They use the rally. This is one where Philly doesn't want to invest anything. They almost just kind of want to throw that fight in the bin, let Paris use some ultimates, then try and come back. You know, the full stockpile of ultimates as they're getting close all 6.
That fight looked like pouring marinara sauce down a luge. A lot of sauce. All right, so we're highlighting here, obviously, the fact that the Eternal have a good lead on some of these big ultimates to bring into the fight. Transcendence, Boombox and Hip both have that. Grabs for both teams. The ultimate comparison is going to be fairly similar.
Philly may try and just force this again and then get soon to use the grab and come back in the next fight. Let's see. No, they use Transcendence. So
how do they set up the self-destruct? Sato knocked out. Perfect timing. Finzi takes him down with that self-destruct. Paris have the combo pieces all in the right places. Nico was traded out, but the Eternal will be happy to go 3 for 1 so far in plays in this fight, and Poco will get caught and staggered here. They're not going to let this mini diva return to her spawn, or will they?
And Philly makes a horrible decision using all 3 support ults. So you have absolutely nothing here for the Philadelphia Fusion in terms of sustain. You're going up against a team who's going to have Sound Barrier, Transcendence, and Rally. So Poco switches off of Diva just to go back to get a new mech.
Okay, so it's fair enough. Eternal let the DC to Poco just walk back to spawn. They don't give him any chance to get damage to get his suit back. So that really takes a lot of time off the clock, and now 90% comes up for Paris, so they start off the fight here with a Sound Barrier. The Earth Shatter from Sato, not what he was looking for. I think it's safe to say that. And Boombox just gets absolutely lasered down. Now Soon's getting aggressive. He has the Graviton Surge as well. And the Fusion get absolutely crushed. Map number 1. We'll go over to the Paris Eternal in a match they don't necessarily need to win. Philly are the ones that have everything to lose right now. Paris be happy with that one. Cruz and co. See what kind of psychological warfare they can inflict between these stages. We'll be back with map 2 in just a moment.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Paris Eternal display their signature cohesion, at least when it comes to control point maps, Matt. They look very, very good, especially at the end of Busan, whereas Philly had some wires crossed. They were starting to use all their support ultimates in some of these fights just to stay in the race.
It's like the second to last fight where they come down the alley and then they end up using their own grab in all three support ultimates, and Paris is able to win the fight and hold on to Sound Barrier and Transcendence. That's really where that map is decided. I think if you're Philadelphia, you probably would have liked to have at least one more push, let them use grab. They probably would have used rally as well, and you could have held on to all three supports and grab, and then came back with another quick fight.
I mean, losing a team fight when you have ostensibly an ultimate advantage, whether it's more ultimates the enemy team or more of the right ones, that pretty much can lose you around there and then. You expend all of your resources, and then there will be a couple fights where the enemy team actually has that exact same advantage. And if they capitalize on it and you don't, you are just not going to win.
The hardest part for Philly's perspective is like you're already at a point where Paris has built up like 40% on the point. So you know if you give away another fight, you're looking at like a 70% to 0. And it's like, well, do we try and win this fight now and get it back at like 55, 60%? Or do we let it go and then we're in one fight territory?
And a lot of these things you need to consider in between fights. Playing this 3-3 composition. Lucio's, though, what an important part of these compositions, and Cruz continuing to lead in terms of those final blows. He is always getting these fights started off. And Matt, what's most crazy about this is he only has 2 deaths despite being so involved in that first couple of engagements.
Yeah, I mean, you see the healing done almost really near where the hero damage is. That's because Lucio in this meta is really used for his speed, not as much as healing. Really speed and then Sound Barrier. Sound Barrier, very strong ultimate ability. The speed boost of Lucio, though, is really what these teams are utilizing. Getting the tanks in the right position fast, where the tanks usually they suffer from a lack of mobility. Lucio provides speed to everybody.
I mean, these players here on your screen, Neptune and Cruz, go way back to the European scene before the Overwatch League was even inaugurated. Even more interesting is that Cruz and Boombox are actually great mates and have played together in the past, back when Cruz was more of a damage dealer player. So a lot of history between these two teams, which are heavily seeded with European talent. And we're seeing, a little bit of struggle from Philly again. This characteristic struggle to really make things happen in this Reinhardt-based 3-3 setup.
And I do think, though, Paris, they have a little bit of a swagger and edge about them that they want to come in and maybe upset Philly.
Speaking of which,
keep them out of the playoffs. So Shadowburn will come in here for soon. Most likely, yep. That's the rotation they've been making as of late. Getting Shadowburn some play in the lineup, so you'll see him play Zarya, most likely. You can play a lot of other heroes. A little bit more passive of a player in general.
In saying that, he also has one of the higher first death rates of all players in the entire league. So, look, the sample size is a little bit smaller for our friend Georgie here. He hasn't played quite as many games, and also he's only played in games where
they've lost pretty heavily.
Lost pretty heavily. So, look, take that with a pinch of salt. But they definitely need one of those two to step up and be a real rock for their team in terms of that Zarya play. King's Row is coming up next, so we should expect to see more compositions that are focused around that Reinhardt. So Ben Bez probably licking his chops here, looking for another chance to give it to Sato.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Paris and Philly wants to opt into this Rein versus Rein matchup all day long, you are super happy. You take that. Philly, they may have to look something about going back to their Winston 3-3. Or potentially running like a Sombra, something that can really disrupt Paris, really throw them off their game. But we haven't really seen that from Philly all throughout.
No. And in fact, at moments where we expected they would leverage their very strong damage dealers on this roster, the Fusion, they kind of just haven't. They've opted not to do that. I mean, they no longer have Hotbar in their lineup, who used to be a big part of them being able to play multiple damage dealers. He obviously now is on a Guangzhou charge. Finzi. Ooh, previously a hit scan player, by the way. Saw some incredible McCree moments from him in the past. He won't be producing any Widowmaker clips for us now.
That's where Paris could be interesting when we get into more damage dealers, because we've seen Nico play damage dealers in the past, Shadowbird, soon, Finzi, a lot of talented players.
Oh, this is very clever from the Fusion. They notice the Eternal sort of bunched up, trying to ascend the stairs, so they collapse on Finzi. Now the Eternal have no choice but to fight. And how do they do this? Do they set up and wait for Finzi to respawn back in, maybe, or at least get his mech back?
I mean, they have the opportunity to. D.Va is very mobile, can get back up to where the rest of the team's
Finzi's in a safe spot to get charged, to get his mech available again.
He's going to get very close to it here. Is up, getting very close to dying there.
Honestly,
he'll get the mech back.
The Fusion probably wanted a different pick than Finzi. Obviously, when D.Va is desuited, she still stays around.
Paris does control the high ground, though. So you see Shadowburn up there with his Zarya, glowing, pretty charged up. It's a very good spot for Zarya. You can lay down the bubbles, everybody down on the point,
Yep, especially with the Fusion having to push out this far. If Philly just played close to the wall on the left, it will be harder for Shadowburn to get damage. That could have been a big Earth Shatter there. I had high hopes for Insado, but it doesn't quite work out. Graviton Surge used by Philly, and that's the Transcendence in response. No setup there. Boko, 70% towards his self-destruct. He's not quite there yet. Now it's going to be the Eternals' turn to try and use their grab. Doesn't work out. Ben Best is stunned. The Graviton times out just as Ben Best goes for the charge, and he gets taken down.
Big
3,
shatter.
4 on the shatter. That's massive. Perfect stuff from Ben Best. He gets it around Sado, and that'll clean up the fight pretty comfortably. One thing that Paris are good at doing is leveraging the Reinhardt in this composition. And now it's going to be struggle for Philly to get back. Carpe trying to get away with some of that charge. Paris are not going to let him.
Yeah, I mean, you see these ults coming out from both teams. You see the grabs come out from both sides. Those support ultimates. What makes the difference there? Sado uses his Earth Shatter, gets nothing. No stuns, no eliminations. 4 players stunned by Ben Best Shatter. They're able to pick up 3 eliminations off of that. Wipe out half of the team at that point and just steamroll through point A.
Now what do the Fusion do? They set up, I guess, at least around an impending Graviton Surge and a Sound Barrier.
Self-destruct grab.
Yep. Sado will need to be there to set up, or an EQO could do it, to set up a way to get rid of Ben Best here. Early damage trades go in favor of the Fusion. They step up. They can actually take some ground here. But that'll be quickly healed up, and that's the grab. Shadowburn going low early. He can't survive it. He's taken down. Self-destruct in the back. Sado doesn't actually go for a charge there, but it doesn't matter. Carpe's there to finish the job.
It's pretty telling, though, when the grab comes down, you don't see any ultimates used there by Paris. They kind of know that's a fight where they don't have a great opportunity to win it regardless.
Sado's out here trying to be super. Playing that spawn camp we see very much from the San Francisco Shock. Has he been having enough protein shakes lately, though? That's a real question. Neptuno from above, you saw him up there, yeah. Knocking Ben Best forward, making it hard to protect his teammates behind. Graviton Surge coming out from Paris, but doesn't look like it's yielded too much. Self-destruct over the top, but Sado was ready for it. Aims the shield backwards and protects his team.
This is great for Philly. I mean, you get right up into team's spawn door, and you're able to get them to use ultimates, and you still end up winning the fight, controlling this position. That is as ideal as you could get here for Philadelphia.
Transcendence is the support all available. Cruz going down there. This could be dangerous. Neptuno does get stunned up briefly by Nico, but there's no one there to follow up. Half of the Eternal are still inside their spawn, trying to formulate a way to get out.
Well, I mean, you don't want to invest even more ultimates to just get out of this position.
And losing that grab there from Shadowburn, Matt, there's got to be crushing.
The Philadelphia Fusion don't have to use anything to keep them in here. There's no pressure on Philly to use any ultimates.
Transcendence from him immediately. Ben Best hits another big shatter, though, when it claims Boombox. This is what the Eternal were looking for.
This is fine, though. I mean, the Paris Eternal have to come in. They have to use a Transcendence and a Shatter just to get out of their spawn. Now, Philly, they'll be able to regroup here. You know, the cart makes no progress. You see where it is here on your screen.
I mean, is there any real way to break that deadlock without using these ultimates, though? Right?
You have to, because eventually it becomes a point where you're playing so much against the clock. So you do see that you have grab online here for Philly. Shatter as well.
I'm looking for a big shatter from Sado. He's struggled to find them. Ben Best seems to have him read pretty well. Sado playing the corner. He can actually see around that corner because the shield will obviously cause him to zoom out a little bit. Field of view, etc. Carpe, okay, that 0 is not a good number. If he wants to be a real force in this fight, he needs to accrue some charge. Shadowburn quite low though himself. Carpe wants to push up. I think he just wants to hit a big grab straight at the ground. No chance to eat that one up. Now Sado, he sets up Shatter into self-destruct. Nicely done by Sado. We were wondering how that Shatter would get employed, and he uses it to knock Ben Best down so he can't shield his team.
Good, strong combo. We've seen that all stage 1 long.
Good stock. Good, honest combo.
Good, honest combo there. You throw the grab in, knock everybody to the ground.
Nothing overly fancy about it,
down. No. At this point, the teams have gotten so good, like, setting it up and also, playing against it. Early on in this stage, we used to see like massive, Johnny would just blow it up like half the teams. Not as much anymore.
Some teams are also don't want to play as aggressively to try and facilitate those combos because sort of teams are expecting it now, right? They want to bait an enemy right into doing that.
And they play Sado a little bit closer up here.
Oh, he got Boombox. I think Ben Best was looking for Sado with that charge to try and knock him away and get good value off that self-destruct. Still to trade. Both Ryans are down, but Boombox getting damage done from the back. Look at this aggressive push forward from Hip, though. He had the Transcendence. He was just yelling, go, go, go to the Eternal, and they did just that. There's a chance here for the Fusion to regroup, but
it's not looking great.
Sato is the one that has to come back all the way from spawn, and yeah, that's probably not really going to be happening. The Fusion will try and keep this stall for as long as again. Oh, Paris need a hit replacement. This could be nasty for them. Down to 5 players. They're just going to back away with 20 seconds left.
Oh, what a pick.
That was huge. Boombox. What a lad. What a huge unit. Now the Fusion want to chase this one up. Like, understandably, they have an advantage. Oh, Sato gets stunned up. Big Earth Shatter from Ben Best, but Boombox is there with a Transcendence. Sato tries to go for one back, but doesn't get it. Ben Best has his shield held high.
Grabs online.
EQO's caught out of position. He needs to get behind Sato's shield right now, and there's the grab. EQO hanging on tenterhooks. He's down. Self-destruct running from Poker, but Ben Best just shields that one off, and the Eternal are going to be able to fight their way back into this one. Only just.
They barely get over the line there. Hip now will go back to Zenyatta. Shadowburn lands a pretty good Graviton Surge. Carpe throws his in, gets eaten up there by Finzi, so you get absolutely nothing there from your grab. Big play from Finzi.
Shadowburn on scouting duty, hoping to get some ultimate charge with those right clicks at long range. Sato just using the payload to break line of sight so he doesn't get hit, doesn't have to keep his shield up, but his teammates definitely need that protection. 1 minute left. Things are starting to get dicey for the Eternal. They go for the sound barrier. Yeah, the Fusion try to disengage, but look at Cruz. He was behind Sato, trying to knock him back into the rest of his team. Ben Best, another solid shatter. Gets at least 2 with that one, and the self-destruct is still shielded by Sato, though. He was the one that Ben Best needed to find. Once again, didn't get it. EQO wanted to push up there. He had a little bit of extra armor to work with. Shadowburn looks like he's going to be run down on EQO. Oh, he goes a little bit too far. But the Fusion are happy with that fight result.
Yeah, so now it's all the pressure here on the Paris Eternal. You have to combo some of these ultimates, get the cart moving again. You're going to be walking into a ton, though. Philly, they'll have self-destruct, shatter, their grab. You know, they just had a great combo towards the end. Can they combo those 3 ultimates again here to stop the progress of Paris?
Hip will be crucial in this fight. Here's the first Graviton. That was from Carpe. Self-destruct coming in. How's Sato going to set it up again? Shatter! And it's 2 with that self-destruct. Ben Best was knocked down. He was kept alive after the fact, but there's not many teammates to protect now. Just the tanks hanging out. Finzi's going to go over the edge. He's got no real choice. He'll pop back up with his rocket boosters, though. A little bit of a debate. He doesn't quite have that ability now. He gets knocked out of his mech and a sound barrier for the Fusion, using everything at their disposal. Cruz will now try and keep the flame lit for the Eternal, but he has a Discord orb on him, and it'll be very, very squishy. That's all he can do to try and keep things going. And then the Fusion put a stop to the shenanigans.
Another good ultimate combination there from Philadelphia. The Graviton Surge of Carpe, Poco with the self-destruct, and then Sato with the shatter. Helps them get the hold before Paris can complete the map.
The Fusion now know what they have to do. Just get further than Paris did on their attacking side. We'll see how that one unfolds right after these messages. Being swept aside over in that map 1. Fusion now have a lot to prove on this particular map. It is King's Row. And they are now on the attacking side. They've stopped the Eternal from finishing the map on Paris's attack, which means that they kind of know exactly what they have to achieve. They know how far they have to go to even up the series. By the way, if you want to see 2 teams with everything to prove and nothing to lose, the Justice and the Mayhem. Coming up right after this. Don't miss that one. Monty and Doe are going to have a rip snorter of a time.
Yeah, Justice going for their first win. Potentially Florida, you know, they've had an up and down stage, but they have upset some teams in stage 1. So I think 2 teams, you can only go on the rise here. Is that Carpe's got the Widowmaker selected here.
Do it!
Most likely just fires off a shot, then swaps back. Don't want to lie to the people.
Yeah, but if he does stay on it,
We will
if
watch.
he does, you've seen there's a chance. And Carpe will go for that first pick. Kind of needs Zaya. It's not really an optional decision. Way to make the shot hard for yourself, by the way. You could have just like sat up there. Okay. The Fusion now just going to group up, wait for Carpe to join them.
And how close they were to killing Finzi when he tried that.
Yeah, I know. That is true. You don't want to get sniped out by a Zenyatta, you know what I mean?
Carpe split off.
Yeah, he's split. He doesn't want to be here at all. The Fusion probably just need to
They're
slow
going to
down.
double back. Yeah, they're going to...
Carpe held his bubble for a long time. Cruz, what? Saving Private Carpe works out. Cruz just gets squished up against the bus, but the only thing he's taking a tour of is his own spawn. Now the Fusion got to push forward even further. Oh, it's Ben Best caught out, and everything crumbles for the Eternal.
That's exactly how Philly planned that.
There, yeah.
That was phenomenal. What a game plan. Carpe actually gets booped like into that location by Cruz, and then Cruz suffers from Sato charging at him. Poco playing some games there on the point.
I mean, so will the Fusion.
Hey, sometimes it's better to have a little bit of luck, right?
I mean, the fact that Sato gets to charge back and catch Cruz like
great.
that's not really supposed to happen. And theoretically, he does leave the rest of his team unprotected who are playing by the statue. It's only because the Eternal all try to go for Carpe that probably really works out. Oh, so spicy! Ben Best and Co. Again, they're just going to try and hold position and not let this payload progress. But the Transcendence means the Fusion want to take their ticket to the Foundry, and they start here. Ben Best just gets whip shot in the next Tuesday.
Well, losing this is good, though. Like, this is something, you know, when I was watching the Justice yesterday, like, they just kept backing up Washington, and they never actually took one of these, like, kind of junk fights where, you know, they let the other team invest some ultimates early on. Like, look at this. The rally's being used here by Philadelphia. The Transcendence was used. This is a good fight for Paris, because Paris now will have an opportunity to come back again.
Yeah, that's right, Finzi. You thought?
Finzi's in a
You thought
tough
you could
spot.
mess with him, fam?
Outside of this, it was very good.
Yes.
Because now you come back and you're Paris. you swung. He's going to be on there a little bit. Okay.
Oh, no.
You swung the ultimates in terms of supports back in your favor here if you're the Paris Eternal. You were coming into that fight where they had 3, now they only have 2, and you held on to all 3 of yours. So you have all 3 support ultimates, Graviton Surge. You're going to have all 6 coming into this fight. So that early fight is huge there for Paris, just getting them to use some of the ultimates.
Yeah, it definitely would have annoyed the Fusions to have to fight so hard to even get that very basic advancement. But looking for the next milestone now, and that is right here. Self-destruct on the top, the sound barrier helping the Eternal here, and Finzi sent his mech up. It's going to hurt. It does. That's 2 kills, and Eternal will take the fight.
So Paris holds on to their rally during that. So rally versus Transcendence for the next one. But some big combos there set up. And if Paris doesn't take that early fight and get, you know, the Philadelphia Fusion to invest some of their ultimates, that may be one where Philly kind of steamrolls all the way through. Then you're looking at, you know, 4 minutes plus to get to, you know, where the golden box victory is. You see the golden tick at the top of your screen. That's all the distance they have to make with the payload. Would have been quite easy for Philadelphia at that point.
It may not be Willy Wonka's factory inside there, but it'll be just as sweet if the Fusion get to that box of victory. Ben Best, oh, he's caught out. Not a great start. Finzi over that top side there. Again, he can't do much. Neptuno's out there just punching his mech, trying to put dents in it. I don't know if he's got insurance for that or not. And that Shadowman will be chased back one after another, the Eternal fall. Cruz and Boombox are fighting in the corner. It was an old rivalry come to life. Oh, dear.
And right there when Paris, they only have a rally. When the Transcendence comes in, they have to try and back up. The issue is Ben Best, when he's trying to back up, he has to keep the shield up as well. He gets displaced over to the side, and Billy jumps on it right away. See, they're going to be the Graviton Surge here used by Shadowburn. Just trying to pick up some kills because you see where the payload's moving. That's all the distance that Philly needs to do to take the map.
Sato would have liked to have found Nico there, but if he's able to back up and join the rest of his team. Oh, he gets him with the fire strike. That's not good. Nico really had to stay alive here. Charge comes in from Ben Best. It doesn't connect. Self-destruct from Poco. This is more to prevent any chase on the Eternal and gets Finzi after being demexed. Oh, the Diva wins the day for Poco. Now Transcendence from both sides. The Eternal are running a little bit low on numbers right now, but that's going to help them stall out quite sufficiently. Cruz gets caught, he gets grabbed. They just wanted to get rid of the young Brit. And Ben Best is going to be right behind him now. Sound barrier coming out from the Philadelphia Fusion, and they mean business. They're here to finish the job. And now with just Finzi left on the payload. Nice big shatter on hip. That's going to be about it, Matt. Nothing the Eternal can do. And we have an even series now at 1 apiece. And that man on your screen, all smiles, of course.
Sato was huge in that map, Mitch. 14,000 damage compared to Ben Best 7,700. A huge difference in favor of the Philadelphia Fusion Reinhardt.
And after the break, we'll be back into more of this incredible match. But in between them, we've got some things to break down, some messages to share with y'all at home. We'll see you in just a moment.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Eternal trying to play spoiler to the Fusion Stage 1 playoff hopes. So far, it's all tied up 1 apiece here at the break. Welcome back into the Blizzard Arena. Everybody make some noise if you're alive on a Sunday. It's St. Patty's Day. This guy had some green beer, and we're having a party in the venue. We got Zoe, we've got Bren, we've got 2 games to talk about. And while we were watching the games backstage, we wanted to focus on the main tanks. Ben Best was going up against Giannis yesterday for the Washington Justice. Today, he's going up against Sato in the Philadelphia Fusion. So, Zoe, how do you think he fared in this original matchup on Control?
Well, I wasn't really surprised that he did a lot better than Sato. At least on the Reinhardt, this is where we do see him excelling. And at the very beginning, it was the entirety of the Fusion focusing Ben Best down. He did die a lot, and this is how they actually managed to win round 1. However, on round 2, the tides have changed. They did a lot better job at keeping Ben Best alive. He played a little bit more passive, and they did manage to punish Sato's aggression. They also took out EQO out of the equation very early in most of the fights, which helped them a lot since there was no stun being set up for the rest of the team to follow up on. So, yeah, that was actually really well played by Paris Eternal. They adjusted really quickly to what they saw the Fusion playing.
It's a great bounce back, Brennan. As we take a look at some of the numbers here, I have to ask, who do you think is going to have the advantage moving forward? We're only 2 games in, but we still have a whole second half.
Yeah, this is a difficult one for me because I had a feeling it was going to be an even game coming into it. I thought that Paris are going to be the better team here, but Philadelphia Fusion have been looking better as the game is going on. But this is for map 1 here. You can see the stark difference between Bembest and Sado, particularly in eliminations. Been setting up Bembest quite well. He's playing a lot more passive when it came to that second half. But as we went into map 2, that's where things started changing a little bit for the better for the Philadelphia Fusion.
Absolutely. You'll often see Reinhardt, that's the guy with the big hammer, sets up the big shatter, which then the Diva Bomb explodes with no shield to block it. But a lot of times you can't get your shatter off without a little bit of help from your teammate, the Lucio. So, Brent, we were focusing on the Lucios in the second half here of Game 2. What did you see so far from Neptuno and Cruz? We got two bloodthirsty boys in the game.
A much better game from Cruz on his side. Neptuno has always been a fantastic Lucio player, but like this opening play here, Cruz gets the boop onto Sado so they can set up an Earth Shatter. But both of these support players are playing very, very well. I said in the pre-show, Cruz has been dying a lot, needs to fix this if they want to stand a chance against the Philadelphia Fusion. I've definitely seen that. He's been dying way less, but unfortunately for them, Philadelphia Fusion are really abusing a lot of the inconsistencies in Paris' play. What I mean by that is that a lot of the times you'll see Neptuno is booping players into the backline into the Fusion, and they're taking advantage on that. So this is what I've been seeing, this kind of weird mind games that have been taking place between them. But overall, really impressive performance from both these players, and I'm talking positives, and I'm looking forward to this second half as this game continues now, because we did talk about the Lucios. We said that they need to be having more of an impact, at least from the Paris Eternal side. You can see Cruz here, and look at that, Cruz, less deaths than Neptuno. These are two of the most aggressive Lucios in the league, but both of them are just riding quite a steady wave out so far.
So we still have 2 more games to go. We got a lot of Philly fans in the audience, right, Philly fans? Make some noise. Yeah, there they are. All right, if Philly is going to lock up their spot in the playoffs, who is going to lead them to victory in the second half?
Honestly, looking at the map pool we have coming up for you guys, I think it's going to be on the back of Sado. He will be able to actually play his Winston. This is his comfort pick. This is where he really shines. And I'm not sure if Bembest can actually go toe-to-toe with his Winston when he's going up against Sado, who has been looking really strong on that, even though a little bit reckless.
Brent, we had her going with the Paris Eternal. You picked Philadelphia.
No, he didn't.
I picked Paris.
I picked Paris.
I ripped it. I read it wrong. It was Monty who has faith in Philadelphia Fusion, guys. Don't worry. The pre-show is over. Halftime is done. Make some noise, Blizzard Arena, though, because we have plenty more games. Game 3 is coming up after this.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
It's a half-time down, and both these teams are locked in what seems to be quite the ferocious duel. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, the Philadelphia Fusion have an opportunity to lock up their playoff berth right now. The Eternal cannot do that at all. They're pretty much out of the picture, but
They
they'd
are.
love to mess some things up. Isn't that what you always want to do?
Yeah,
Like, if you get eliminated, you just want to
I
make
think
some-
though Philly may have came into it and just kind of thought that Paris is just kind of like going to come in here and roll over, but the match is still important for their overall season standing, right? You know, as the season goes on, the stages go on, your record will kind of carry over into the overall season standings. So very important in terms of Paris' season.
So EQO just rattling out his new mixtape. Get it on SoundCloud soon. Soon is back in the roster.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, so it's an exchange of Zayas for these two teams.
I think it's just going to be, it's like, it almost seems like they're experimenting, you know, in and out of maps. Because we've seen series where Shadowburn, like, plays 2, 3, and 4. We've seen series now where they kind of alternate maps, so...
And look, you want our honest opinion on the comparison between those two? It's probably hard to
I
pick
want
one.
your fake opinion.
Well, my fake opinion was that that grab from Shadowburn on the attack when they were getting spawn camp was pretty average. That's all I'm going to say. They neither of, let's just put it this way, neither of them is shining incandescent.
Yeah, they haven't been world beaters exactly in the role, but I think
Which is funny because both of them, their own rights as damage dealers in the past,
are super good.
Yeah, that's what happens, bro.
But I think it's a different like way you're playing Zarya now as well. Like, you used to like, the cooldowns mattered in the past, but not as much as they matter now, and kind of like an order of operations of what goes where and when. So it'll be Paris on offense here to kick things off. They'll be running the Reinhardt version of 3-3.
Sato happily to finally get to play his Winston. Now again, in a straight 6v6, it's pretty hard for a Winston-based 3-3 to beat one that features a Reinhardt here. I mean, Reinhardt kind of just does more damage over a smaller pace of time, but Sato is able to get into the backline. He's much more mobile, Matt.
And Sato also will be able to build up this ultimate pretty quickly, as Winston's Tesla Cannon kind of cleaves on all targets in the area. You see already up to about 60%. And he just wants to keep jumping in, poking a little bit, then getting out with his life.
Ooh, yeah, Sato dropped off quickly there. I'm glad he realized he'd get shield bashed by Nico.
It'll be difficult once Paris establishes some control of the point, or some presence on the point, how they go about getting them off. You see, trying to set up on the high ground here. See soon if he decides to drop down or stay up. Right now, he was up on the high ground, but Philly actually rotated around and pushed him off.
I mean, soon without a barrier, without a bubble, and without any vitality. The Fusion identify the weak link, at least in that fight for the Eternal, the one with the lowest amount of health. And they get rid of him. Now, it's very hard to kill Brigitte when she has Harmony Orb, but if you have some friends...
It's hard to kill her in general.
Yeah. Trying to fight her when she's using a rally is like Reinhardt, or Winston's even worse. I don't even bother. It's just
I would legitimately rather fight the Primal Rage Winston than Brigitte with Rally.
I'd rather just do a Golden Boy and fight the bear.
The Golden Boy chickened out of that fight.
No, he did actually, yeah. I think Puckett offered to do it, though, in his stead. Pretty sure I can confirm that.
Philly has a ton here. Paris with nothing in terms of ultimates, so in this fight, look to see like maybe Paris just kind of speed boosts up the stairs.
Just try and do some damage.
Maybe they use Transcendence to try and force some more ultimates out. Like if they get grab out from Philadelphia, use your own Transcendence. Maybe trade it for a
like
rally.
A 1 for 2?
Yeah, and a rally and a Transcendence on the other side.
You could theoretically get 3 ults for the price of 1, man.
Yeah.
Let's see if that's going to be the plan. So Finzi, desuited already now. The Transcendence comes out from Kip. Rally used by the Fusion and Primal Rage. There's the grab from Carpus. That's 3 ultimates now being committed to this fight. That's what the Eternal were kind of hoping for, I believe.
Yeah.
And they'll take that one there, yeah? They get the floor wiped with them, but they expected that.
I mean, they get exactly what they wanted. They invest their Transcendence, and then EQO uses Rally, Primal Rage use here from Sato, Self-Destruct from Poco, and then the Graviton Surge. They use everything they have.
The big difference is, how do you finagle your way out of a fight where you have 2 support ultimates to get past on the Fusion side? Because Fusion have the Transcendence, they'll probably have a sound barrier here. Like, do you have enough ultimates to force those out?
I think if you would have had Primal Rage still, if Sato would have held that Primal Rage, used it towards the end, you would have had its option. It'll be the grab that kicks things off here for Paris.
Transcendence straight away, knocked down on towards Poco from that Earth Shatter. Sato was actually not from the high ground, and he might not have a jump pack cooldown for a little bit here. Finzi throws in the bomb. No one's caught out by that one, but EQO was trying to get away on the left side here. Philly are a little bit split, but they managed to corral the Eternal onto the stairs.
Philly does a tremendous job here, Mitch, just spreading out and kiting all of this. Like, Paris is just trying to run and chase them down, and they never give them a static target to go after. Really nicely played there from Philly. The only way they win that is with their positioning, and they're able to do it.
So that's... Boombox needs to be a little bit careful here. Yeah, he's probably okay, but Nico, again, Brie does damage, less than she used to. Shield Bash only does 5 damage, not 50, so that was nasty back in the day. Can they catch Nico? Oh, that hurts! The Eternal down to 5 players now, and the Fusion are going to go looking for more. And with only 22 seconds left on the clock, the Eternal may not even be able to get to the point, let alone with 6 players alive.
They could stop him with grab potentially. Like, they have to make a play for the point here. Cruz trying to provide speed for the rest of the team. They want to stay on this for now.
This is disastrous.
Tracer. This is not good here from Paris.
4 seconds remaining. Just a couple of moments. Finzi gets to the point and touches it, but he has to be de-suited immediately. That's not what they were hoping for. They need to be at full strength in this fight, but they had to sacrifice the mech to even get in it in the first place. Nico is landed on by Sato here and soon is removed from the fight. Ben Best now, his best hope is to try and stall out, but after he gets shield bashed, he can't just roll away. Poco throws out the self-destruct to the side of the point. That again is a zoning effort, and the Eternal put in the dirt.
Oh, it's ugly. An ugly first half from Paris. They don't get a single. They don't get a single elimination. No kills.
They have no kills, no eliminations, no final blows. About half the damage that the Fusion did. Everything going wrong. The Fusion poised to take their second map of the series right around the corner. The Eternal cannot be pleased with that last half. No kills, no eliminations, no nothing. Yeesh. Tough for them. The Fusion, though, looking pretty solid here. They've got to be happy with this. They only have to capture point A, so everything pretty well laid out for them now. The plan is going to be very clear. By the way, if you want to get yourself up onto this stage or make your way there, sign-ups for the Overwatch Open Division are now live for PC players. It's an entry-level program. It gives you aspiring pros a chance to have a crack at getting up to the higher levels of play. So it's open on the weekends. Lasts about 1 to 2 months in all 7 contenders regions and in most countries across the globe. Head over to playoverwatch.com/esports for more info. Playoverwatch.com/esports. Let's jump into the action now. Philly on the attack.
So they're going to go with Reinhardt here. It's Reinhardt on defense for Paris. So sometimes we see that you play the Winston on defense to prevent like a lot of damage dealing heavy comps up. Going for the outer space strategy. This works never, as now we've gone back inside. Little fake out here from Philly. So they're trying to gain some kind of position here. It looked like Ben Best got booped there for a second.
Oh, there it is. Cruz strikes again.
This may be good for Philly, though. There are a lot of players in this close quarter area.
Sato knocked out there by Nico here. And with Ben Best now swinging a hammer in a short space, it's benefiting the Eternal pretty heavily.
We have seen crazy stuff. This is not a solid map now for Philadelphia. As Cruz going back to the spawn here.
Just the taxi soon, yeah.
Gets soon back in the action here as knows he has some time. If you're Philly, just don't panic. Just you take some of those junk fights where you get them to use some ultimates. Because Paris has to. They have to invest in these fights. There's no other option. That one tick all Philadelphia needs to take the map.
It's like a margin of error, right? Theirs is very slim now because they've... Oh, I like this. Little cheeky rotation. Sato with the back of his team, though. Boombox needs to be careful. All right, shield's back in place. Okay, interesting little dance from the Fusion, but they get there anyway. EQO has to go for the rally. It could have been to do with Carpe going a little bit low early in that fight. But now the Fusion might have a chance to take the high ground. They opt against it, though. They send Poco into the back line, who just justice through. Oh, he's knocked Nico out of position. They're going to try and chase out the Nico, but they get a little bit split. Sato is expecting the rest of the Eternal to chase out there after Nico to protect him, so he gets the Shadow. Well, Ben Best will never get a chance to Shadow at this rate. His gets interrupted. Doesn't get that one off at all, and now the Graviton Surge Transcendence from both sides. Poco is wondering where to put the bomb. Very methodical in his placement of those Diva self-destructs. Doesn't opt to use it quite yet. The sound barrier is probably going to be enough at this rate for the Philadelphia Fusion to finish this fight, and it looks good. Finzi has to get out. Hip is just sitting in the back, hoping no one notices him, but he's a floating Omnic. Pretty hard to miss. Self-destruct on the point, and that will get it done. Didn't take a whole lot. The Fusion set themselves up for success after a very strong defense. Made great use of Winston for that high ground, and then the attack, well, it was just a matter of course. Philly now go 2-1 in the series. Map 4. We'll be seeing that one soon.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Philadelphia Fusion, a very convincing victory on Horizon Lunar Colony after such a strong defense. I mean, it was talked about in the break, man. It was kind of hyped up. It's like Sato gets to play Winston now. Philly looked very good. We even saw a stat from Captain Planet down the bottom that said Philly, win. Third most team fights with Winston or something like that. So, all the stars were pointing to that as a conclusion, but still they made it look very good.
Yeah, Winston was very strong on defense. He did a fantastic job, just doesn't die on their entire defensive hold playing Winston, which usually Winston is...
no one on Philly died.
Yeah, nobody did. But I know it's a very easy hero to get kind of caught out of position when the other team's running the Reinhardt version of the 3-3. You can jump in on Winston, get discorded, stunned, and then there's so much damage bursts into you. There's no chance of survival. Sato does a nice job avoiding all of that.
But it does seem, at least from the eye, a rather efficient way to get charge, at least for your Zai. You bubble the Winston, you send him in. The defending team has really no point to try and pop that bubble and try and get rid of the Winston. If Winston drops in the middle of their team, they have to split. So maybe it's easier than having a Reinhardt being like, are you going to fire strike me or not?
Yeah,
going to get charge or...
The Winston doesn't do as much damage as, let's say, a Reinhardt, right? Swinging into the bubble, Winston does not do as much damage. Just damage to more opponents, just not... the big damage that Reinhardt brings in. So
it comes in bigger bursts.
Yeah, it makes it very difficult to figure out when you're going to use your bubbles and how to track that from the Paris side of things going against the Winston.
Speaking of bubbles, let's have a little bit of a look at how Azai is on either side of the battlefield and tracking right now. Sissoon being subbed back in for this one. Now, look, don't read too much into it. Obviously, Horizon Lunar Colony was a relatively short map. In general, though,
look, you expected to see Soon's graphic look like this. They get blown out. There's nothing really. You expected Carpe's look like that. They steamrolled on through them.
The reality is, it's probably there probably aren't any comparisons that we could make on Horizon Lunar Colony that would tell you a whole lot because of how short and how one-sided the map was.
I think it's just more telling on like how the Zarya play for the overall stage has gone for Paris, where they've kind of searched for answers. Carpe, you know, he's capable of these big moments, and we have a sub coming in here for Paris. So Shadowburn comes back in now for Soon. So now we're seeing them just kind of flip-flop maps here.
I mean, you have to...
Just trying to find something that works.
I mean, obviously, the Eternal at this stage are only sort of playing for that sort of end-of-year playoffs at this stage in terms of winning this series. But you have to feel a bit of pressure now if you're set at Shadowburn coming in. King's Row was a tough map, but it was competitive. Now you're being brought in that Zarya role to try and get your team to map 5.
So, we'll see Philadelphia here. Kick things off on offense. I don't think you'll see Carpe play the Widowmaker, maybe just trying to get a pick.
Poco's Hanzo is amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's a meme, I'm not sure.
In a must-win scenario, that's exactly what the Philly fans want to see, the Poco Hanzo.
Well, to be honest, I think Philly fans are very used to seeing their team in must-win scenarios, as they are tied for most map 5 victories at, I'm going to say 13 and 2? 13. Yeah, similar to Boston, actually. Another team that wins a lot of map 5s. That stat appeared on social media last night, and I gobbled it up. So let's see what the Fusion do. Carpe, yes, it is an opening on Widow. Again, you know, if defending teams play too far forward, they can get severely punished. It can be hard to evade that Widow or peeks out real quick.
I mean, maybe, let's say if Cruz is playing a little bit closer, trying to get a boop on the bridge, right? Not expecting the Widowmaker play, could get caught out. Hip trying to come around the Reinhardt shield, potentially, you know, get an early first pick as the Rialto offense, very difficult to take this first point.
Oh, the speed boost there from the Fusion. They try and obscure their setup as much as possible, but the Eternal knew what was coming. They speed into them, and damn, they look good when they're all working together, the Paris Eternal. That was very convincing. Really just bounce off them.
So look, you get back to the Reinhardt versus Reinhardt combination. Paris starts on the defensive end here on Rialto. This is where you can really set the pace. Like a lot of these maps where we talk, you know, offense, defense, this is one that favors more the defensive side. Usually a lot of these maps are a little bit more offense heavy.
It's slow going for attackers, especially on this part of the map. We have to filter through these small corridors, and defense has easy access to high ground. But now with the payload where it is, the attackers, i.e. the Philadelphia Fusion, can set up there themselves. Try and get some charge for Carpe. Oh, that's so nice. But still, Hip goes down. It doesn't matter. The Fusion get launched in the direction that they wanted to go. Cruz with the knockoff, and he must be hating life right now. He did exactly what was needed of him, and still the Fusion like, okay, well, I guess we got shot out of a cannon. We'll make the most of it.
He makes a nice boot. It just results in his whole team dying because of it. Like, maybe his team wasn't ready. Like, usually when we see a boop like that, you usually see maybe 1 or 2 players drop. Not expecting all, like, 4.
Philly are like, maybe cruise control ain't that bad. Just knock us in there. That's fine. Carpe on the high ground, and again, it's a Graviton surge for him. So he's trying to probably keep an eye where Finzi is, though. We've not seen any grab eats this series. Both Zarya players, all 3 of them, been very careful about making sure they haven't been negated. The D-suit already happened for Finzi, though. Carpe would have wanted to have gone for a grab there, potentially, but he got knocked to the ground. Now the sound barrier coming out for the Fusion, and they've almost got that first checkpoint. They get there, the Eternal just kind of get brushed aside.
You see Philadelphia getting aggressive. They want to get these kills on to Ben Best, on a Hip. Sato just trying to stay alive. There he goes. Picks up the Zenyatta's Carpe. Just juggling the beam there, having some fun.
Oh, I mean, if you're not having fun, Matt, what's the point, you know?
Yeah. So I know they'll keep at least 1 player on the cart right now. They got 2 moving the payload around the corner. This is great for Philadelphia. Like I mentioned, very difficult to take point A. Usually when you take point A, it takes a ton of time off the clock. They still have 3 minutes and 40 seconds and counting to get from A to B.
Fusion like, hey, Cruz, you want to come over here and do that thing you did before? Just give us a push in the right direction. Oh, Ben Best, he got quickly bubbled by Isaiah. Nice reaction from Shadowman to keep that tank alive, and Carpe's in the perfect spot to do damage. Oh, man, he's going to have another Graviton Surge already. Now, he doesn't find any kills in that position, but he's farmed up a heck of an ult bank in the meantime. And a Fusion. Oh, hello.
But they get that quick stun from EQO onto Ben Best, and then that forces the Zarya bubble out. It also forces Paris to react and use some of their support ultimates. So they end up using, they use Transcendence, and they use Sound Barrier, and they use Shatter there to pick up some kills towards the end. So now you have this grab self-destruct combo. You're going to have Transcendence as well here for Philly.
The swing of numbers is is going to be nasty for the Eternal.
You see Benbest playing so close up here. Maybe just trying to get like solo grabbed so his team doesn't take a lot of the hurt.
Trying to set himself up to preempt it. EQO got charged out. Maybe Benbest was just looking for a charge. Oh, 2 ultimates from the Fusion in a fight. They've already lost 2 players. I don't know if this is advisable. They do get Nico at least. But Benbest, he's hanging on. Oh, that did not look good at all for the Fusion, man. That was a disaster. Those ultimates went to waste.
And I think part of their problem there for Philadelphia is you knew you were going to lose that fight. And you knew Paris was going to actually build some ultimates out of it. So maybe towards the end there, use some to try and force some of those newly earned ultimates out. But it's just not working the Philadelphia Fusion's favor. So now, see if Shadowburn can land a big grab here.
Nico has to shield bash out of the way to not get caught by Sato. Sato looks like the only one on the grab right now. Carpe just sitting on the outside of it. That's not a bad result. Still, he goes down to Benbest with the burst damage. And the Fusion used a sound barrier there, so they have to accrue some value in this fight some other way now while losing Sato early on.
And they use sound barrier and rally, and they start to like back up.
That's in trouble.
Ooh. As now Paris, you just wait it out a little bit. You do have a trade here though, so you lose Cruz.
Philly
you don't
trying to
have
get
the
aggressive.
speed. Yeah, Philly knows. I mean, you don't have that speed boost to get out of town. You can go here pretty quick.
It's a 5v5. Carpe just hoping they stick together for long enough for him to land that Graviton.
Oh, he had to use trance. He was so low, there was no healing provided there for him.
Now the Fusion can just back up here. Finzi gets demeked in the meantime by Boombox. Oh, this is very good for the Fusion now. Swings and roundabouts, I guess. It's been a real back and forth, but now the Eternal's still down to 5 players, and they get grabbed up. Shadowman's forced to go for a Graviton surge of his own. Connection was very good. He got all of the Fusion as they moved up together, and they lose Carpe as a result, despite there being the Transcendence in play. Poker was trying to duel Shadowburn out in the background, but doesn't get much for that. And EQO needs to stand his ground on a payload against 2. Going to be a tough job for him indeed. The knock away on towards Neptuno. He returns now to the fray. Finzian over the top here, trying to descend on top of EQO, who was discorded. The Fusion really had to hold on. This is very tense for them.
I tell you what, this has been a great defense, though, from the Paris Eternal. The 3+ minutes for the Philadelphia Fusion to attack here. There's a good amount of ultimates, throughout a lot of this, but now this will be the toughest one. You just have Shatter here for the Paris Eternal. Sound barrier over on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion, so you have a lot of this sustain.
Currently split are the Fusion. Very much so.
Yeah, they have to. Maybe you try and get a speed boost barrier, push on through. They have to be careful though. Benbest using this counter shatter as he's backing up.
Sato just trying to bait the Eternal down to the low ground so Philly can have some of that high. That kind of works out.
There it is.
Sound barrier here. That's the shatter. Boombox was knocked prone. Oh! Shadow tries to go for a shatter of his own. He's knocked back and doesn't quite find the one he was looking for. Hip was still able to get a Transcendence into play. He had enough time. He noticed that Sato was trying to go for that potentially round-winning ultimate. So Poker heads up to the high ground now, and it is in overtime if you didn't notice. There's a grab here for Shadowburn. That might end it all here, especially with Poker being desuited. Shadowburn now being chased down. Poker was looking for him, but Sato actually found him with the Fire Strike. A Transcendence from Boombox is really going to keep the Fusion going here, and Benbest is pointing to a little corner. He's not going to get out. Sato chases him down. Poco's traded out. A late shatter from Sato. He's gotten 2 in this fight, and this time it hits true. Finzi and Nico, the last 2 standing, and there's nothing Nico can do but try and stall things out. Philadelphia. Boy, they had to dig deep in their pockets for that one.
In the final moments, able to make it work. You see Philly getting aggressive. They want to see if anyone gets that close spawn. Oh, and it's Benbest. So you don't have the Reinhardt here to push up into the choke just yet. So Philly, they're going to leave 3 players on the card here. So they just used Neptuno, Carpe, and Sato to push up to get that kill. They used the speed boost to move on back. So they want to get some more payload progress right to the beginning of this choke here, and then that's where you're going to see the next big fight kick off.
Sato's trying to establish a zone for his team by pushing up a little bit. And here we go, they're going to push forward yet again. Sound barrier here for the Eternal. That one came out really early. The Eternal need to get aggressive and make use of this one now. The Fusion, but they just went for the rally. They can back off with a speed boost, and here is the Graviton Surge. Self-destructors are a setup. Benbest, no, he wasn't knocked down, so that bomb doesn't really connect, but Cruz is still felled on the side of the Eternal.
Yeah, and what happens there is Philadelphia uses the rally, and then the sound barrier is used by Paris, and Philly doesn't rush in right away. They wait it out. Now they have their own sound barrier to push on through.
The Eternal just stuffed back inside their spawn, trying to put him on a house arrest. Nico has to rush in with a shield bash to just cover the distance to get there. And he should be leapt upon now. The Brigitta is down. Finzi also removed, and Cruz. Well, he's floating a little bit too high to keep that one contested. And a Fusion really had to work hard to finish the map there. They're almost stopped before getting that second checkpoint.
I mean, finishing the map at all here is huge, though, on Rialto.
and you finish with that 19 seconds there in the time bank, is Paris going to have a rough go here, I think.
You know, we heard in the break as well, I think Hui was chatting with Danny, I think, in the break, one of our insiders, and sort of saying that, you know, we kind of want to be taken seriously. People are underrating us a bit. I mean, everyone says that, right? You say one bad thing about a team and they get a little bit upset, but you know, they definitely want to be considered one of those higher tier teams. And I mean, I guess the next tier above Philly is kind of where Toronto is sitting. I guess they're on the cusp of sort of.
But I mean, they could
like that.
I mean, they could even, you know, find themselves passing Toronto, right? Where it's like Philly, you know, Vancouver Titans in the NYXL. I think Philly, you look at them and you're like, okay, sometimes they play so up and down. You know, their Reinhardt triple tank, triple support's not the best. They do play a really sick, you know, Winston composition though, as stage 1 playoffs. It's going to be massive.
6 p.m. PT, March the 21st. Next week,
I can't wait.
Get there.
Playoffs are awesome. Playoffs and anything are awesome.
I mean,
And Overwatch League specifically, though, even better.
we've distilled it down, of course, to some of our very best teams in the league, our top 8. So it's going to be a lot of fun. A week of just playoffs.
I mean, this is what we were talking about, how, you know, difficult it is to complete this map.
Wow.
Only 36% of the time. It's crazy.
Captain Planet, getting it done.
So it'll be Winston on defense here for the Philadelphia Fusion.
Yeah, this is what they love to do. I mean, let's see if they can make it work as well.
This one's a little bit tougher to play the Winston.
Yeah, but he's got high ground.
So many chokes though. You need the Reinhardt sustain and just the damage to go through.
Poco's sitting off on the left side. Maybe he was hoping to get a boop on some of these players into the canal, but he waited a little bit too long for that. The payload's pushed past that point. Okay, EQO drops down. He's out of position big time. Sardo's on the high ground. He still gets fed best. He just flies over his head and gives him a bit of a tickle with a Tesla cannon, and it still works out.
I think, though, Poco needs to play up in that high ground position, because if you're Philadelphia, what you want to do is you want to utilize you know, the versatility of these tanks, the ability for, you know, the Diva and the Winston to just move up and down from the high ground, and you can just keep juggling back and forth, one from one side and one from the other, to contest the payload before it even makes it to that corner.
Also, I think Poco's in a good spot to counter dive, or just to try and assess if perhaps Finzy's going super aggressive, or if Cruz looks like he's going for one of those classic first kills. Hip down again. Boombox drops in this time. But it was definitely started up by Sato, who goes in there. Now, I don't know if Philly really want to be caught in this small little room against a very angry Reinhardt, but he was too low on health to really make much of a dent. And Cruz is trying to just skirt away. He escapes, but the Eternal are no closer to getting this first checkpoint.
And I think with how spread out Philadelphia can play with this composition, like, where is the big Earth Shatter that you can land? Where is that Graviton Surge that connects to 3 or 4 players?
It's there if you can force the Fusion to stand on the ground and look at you.
So Paris going to take a new route. They're tired of just running over the bridge and dying. So they're going to go around, play this from the opposite side. But I feel like Philly is okay with this, because if you're Philly, this is kind of the same thing. Poco can sit up on that high ground, still go on these flanks.
They just want high ground.
Yeah, I mean, they can just drop right down.
I mean, Philadelphia Fusion have the luxury of just looking at the Eternal and, you know, getting in between them, picking them apart, driving a wedge in between their tanks and the rest of them. That's a very nice Graviton Surge on the high ground, and the self-destruct may be a little bit superfluous.
And the Shatter from Benbest only connects with Poco. That's why you see the self-destruct a little bit late there. Which I was mentioning, you know, so now you come in with Shadowburn and this Graviton Surge, right? And you got the grab and the self-destruct combo. How do you judge? I think this is really hard for a Zarya player, like, when to use this. Like, are you okay with just getting the Winston? Because then he'll just Primal Rage and live through it.
The Eternal might also be playing from this direction for fear of what Primal Rage could do to them if they're on a bridge.
Yes.
That is possible.
Nico really low.
Shadowburn, no energy. Needs to get... Poco eats it up. Nothing's going right for him. First Graviton eat of the round, and once again it's Shadowburn who donates his ultimate over to a very hungry Frenchman. Poco just going to chill on the payload now, and that Transcendence is not going to do anything. The Paris Eternal now, it looks like the wheels are falling off the bus. They have a minute and 12 seconds left to do something, and they spent some very expensive ultimates in that previous fight.
And I think Shadowburn may have had to grab a little bit earlier than he would have liked there, because Nico uses Rally, and he ends up dropping right away. And then Shadowburn, like, almost like in a panic, has to use the grab, and it gets eaten up there by Poco. Primal Rage now on the bridge. This is what they were worried about.
Nope, but again, it just creates a zone. It essentially, Primal Rage here, it increases the size of Philadelphia. Really? Really, Sato? Is that really necessary, bro?
That was poorly executed.
That is...
I see Sato on stage, he's laughing, and Poco's shaking his head like, no. Like,
yeah, perhaps you have some different like humor styles on that team. Okay, well, fair enough. Now the Eternal, in lieu of a main tank for the Philadelphia Fusion, going to try and go aggressive, and Philly have to fight this.
Can't lose.
5v6.
Come on.
Hipstad already. Cruz is missing. Oh,
To be fair,
Sato right now.
To be fair, if Philadelphia had a ton of ultimates going into Paris, is none.
Still, Matt. The
Yeah, but
numbers don't lie, dog.
But what are you supposed to do though? They got 3 support ults. Like, there's nothing really you could do there. Sasato comes back as Reinhardt.
All right. Well, I bet you Hayes is going to have a word with him after that one, but it just doesn't matter. Well, the Eternal, they're done for the stage now, and they're unable to unseat the Fusion, who will make it into the playoffs. Don't worry, Cruz. I heard they're looking for a new Kingsman agent. You might just have to shave when you have some time. Philly, though, very clean into that series. As soon as they get that Winston, they start to make the magic happen.
And I think they're a weird team, like, if you're game planning going against Philly into the playoffs. I think, you know, with their strength of schedule, you can't really gauge, like, how strong of a team they are. We know there are runner-ups from last year, now coming second in our, you know, inaugural season. But so far this year, they've been so up and down, and so, you know, they haven't really played a lot of tough opponents. I think they're going to be very difficult to game plan for.
Well, absolutely. They themselves have a team have evolved immensely over that off-season period. They're playing a different style now, and when they first came out of the gates, everyone was dubious. They're like,